All right, everybody, welcome back. This is the End of the World with Michael and Stu.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Stu. And today we are talking about a film that I won't even pretend is a masterpiece. That's right, it's I Am Legend from
I Am Legend.
2007, directed by Francis Lawrence and starring legendary actor Will Smith.
Completely forgettable picture that we both, I think, as of right now, can't wait to have forgotten, right? Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm in the process of forgetting it as we prepare to discuss it. So.
You're luckier than me, so great.
Yeah, but
I fear it could be years.
This is going to be the nightmare that recurs every night when you try to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, we'll get into I Am Legend, how much we despised it in a few moments. Before that, we thought we should pay our respects to the late Rob Reiner and his
the late great. I mean, really,
legitimately great director. Many classics of our youth, being children born in the 80s and grew up in the 90s.
And phenomenal for his breadth, you know, cross genre successes, like massive movies and different
he did
A Few Good Men.
Yes.
As I think we may have spoken about, perhaps the movie I've seen more than any other single title.
That's interesting because I may have seen The Princess Bride more than any other movie. As a young child.
No, A Few Good Men, every time I get together with my brother, you have to watch A Few Good Men once. So it's a lot of times.
I mean, that's the You Can't Handle the Truth movie, right?
Yes, of course. I
mean,
I actually watched a bunch of reels of Reiner talking about Jack Nicholson's performance in A Few Good Men today. So it's been...
that's good.
Yeah. Not great. A seemingly very good guy.
And I mean, he was a huge lib and a little bit of a like blue and on guy in his later years, but I can't really hold that against him. He's also a meathead, right? I mean, legend.
Perhaps my favorite Rob Reiner thing. I mean, just brilliant. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and we were just talking about All in the Family during the Network episode a few weeks ago. Yeah. So. Yeah, and it seems to have been a terrible act committed by the son, seems to be the suspect who's under arrest, who's had a troubled life up until this point. And, you hate it when that happens. It's awful. And, usually in times like this, as a nation, we pull together and sort of try to comfort each other and we follow the lead of our elected officials, in particular, Donald Trump.
Right.
Who has, consoled us with a missive issued over Truth Social. Michael, do you want to read Trump's statement or should I read it?
Yeah. It starts, like, again, I'm not trying to make light of this at all because it's disgusting, but he does start in a very strange way given what right? Like, I guess he's being sarcastic. I guess he's being such a supreme dick here, right? Here it is. He starts with a very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife, Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as, all caps, Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness, and with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before. May Rob and Michelle rest in peace! !
Just completely insane, right? I mean,
obviously the overall prospect of a president helping Americans grieve in various ways has its own limitations, but this is to me, like, it's the fully, like, referring to himself in the third person in the tweet now.
Yeah. He's been getting into that more, and he actually followed up because I saw a thing on usatoday.com. That's right. The free newspaper of motels issued a statement. That's my association with USA Today, right? You like get a copy next to the Continental Breakfast.
In growing up in Canada, you would get the USA Today sometimes, and I was always revered by me because it would have a more extensive sports
Yeah,
section
me
than like
too. When I was
Toronto Star.
absolutely, when I was traveling around the country with my dad, when we would take an annual trip out to Wyoming, which I think I mentioned before, I would always want to get the USA Today because it would have like the most detailed baseball box
Yeah,
scores
that's right.
or what have you, and or NBA draft breakdown. That was always, it was usually in late June. So yeah,
But
anyway,
just to go back to the
but
Trump thing,
let me finish this. Like,
yeah, yeah.
sorry, I got off on a
No,
tangent
no,
there.
please.
He he was asked about it by USA Today, and they were like, "Do you think you like went a little too far? I mean, now that it seems like it was a familial conflict, didn't have." He said Rob Reiner was very bad where Donald Trump was concerned. He started doing the third person thing again.
Yes.
Also, utterly refused to back down from any of the sentiments in this. Just doubled down and doubled down again, which is, of course, the Trump move, right? I mean, you never back down, you never apologize for anything. But there was actually a little bit of blowback for this, like from Republicans and people being like, "This is just unnecessary." Like, what?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we will talk about this more in next week. But it sort of feels like, as much as we are convinced of that he'll just always get out of every jam, it just feels like some cracks towards some sort of reprieve of lame duckism may be approaching Trump here.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and we don't need to get into all that now, but I did just want to note that, like, I think one of the gross things about this is the way it sort of mimics a genuine like respect paying post.
Well, it
Right, like,
starts with a very sad thing and ends with "May they rest in peace," and then the middle is
yeah,
just like this
but the way, I guess
hodgepodge
what
of
I'm like,
madness.
it's the middle part that's like particularly gross, I feel, is like the reportedly due to the anger he caused. Like, to actually, like, it's one thing to just be like, he hated me,
But it's
Godspeed,
another
right?
thing to be like, his hatred of me led to him dying, which
Yes,
sort
like
of
literally.
implies like I, not indirectly, I had him killed, right? Not.
Yeah, and just like the reportedly language when you're the president of the United States is so bizarre, because it's like there's like an air of authority here. And again, not talking about the way that we might read it, but like there's probably people out there who are like, yeah, he shouldn't have gotten so pissed off at Trump. These
Well,
people
but
are
there's
nuts.
also this huge rush as soon as it was announced and the son was pointed to as the suspect. All these right wing bots, I mean, maybe they're real people, I don't know, immediately started saying the son was trans, which
What?
is like not the case. But it's
Yeah.
like every crime that happens now is immediately blamed on a trans person without any
Yeah.
evidence to the,
Where and you're saying these are bots?
just on Twitter. Yeah.
Okay.
Just, but I mean, like I saw, and like in the comments on TMZ as the story was unfolding, like Rob and his mom like abetted their son's transition, and now look what's happened to them. Like
Oh
they
my
got
God.
almost as if they got what they deserve somehow for
Yeah.
allowing a trans person to exist, even though that is not what happened. The other thing to point out here, and we talked about this a little bit before we were recording, is it's just very weird and kind of gives up the game for Trump to post this like ridiculous screed about the death of Rob Reiner when after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, conservatives went around the internet trying to have anyone who said anything negative about him fired, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, it's like, well, wait a minute. like
Right. And the whole the tying into it was like, the idea that like violence is just any criticism of Kirk was impossible now because he was, felled by a violent act.
right.
And yet the president can
As
do the
soon
exact
as
same.
Rob Reiner
Yes,
is
that's right.
murdered, it's like
Yeah.
he is murdered because of me.
Right. And again,
It's
like
very weird.
you also have, the tragic shootings in Australia and Brown, and
Oh
like you
God,
have these
yeah.
other things all at the same time. And this
Trump's
is
thing
where
about
he
Brown
puts.
was like these things can happen.
Yeah, I mean, right. I mean, the mask is off with the right about the mass shootings, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they're just the cost of doing business. I mean, I was listening today to somebody, and how did they put it in the news thing? Like a common, like a tragically like American occurrence where now whenever there's a shooting like this at a university, you can almost be certain that somebody who is around it has already been in one
Oh yeah. So it's like
from
you're
high
from high
school. And like
school. Yeah, yeah.
they interviewed this woman who's just like, I went to Brown because of like when she looked into where to go, it was like campus safety and safety campus record and all that stuff. And like took me years to like deal with this and now here I am again. I
Ugh.
mean, it's just and then their response is so callous. Like it just doesn't matter. These kids don't matter.
I feel like they don't bother with the thoughts and prayers anymore. Even
No, I
not
think
that,
they got. I think their response. Like it was funny, right? It's like almost like their response to getting criticized for thoughts and prayers because they didn't lead
was
to
to not
action
even pretend.
was to not even do the thoughts and prayers because like, well, of course we're not doing action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a grim weekend. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
to wake up.
It was a really grim weekend, and it is one of those things where this is really sick and sad to think of, but like how when there's a shooting like the Brown thing where it feel one of my first thoughts when this is the case was like, oh yeah, like that hadn't happened in a minute.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I know it's really
Or at least one that got a lot of media attention.
that's what I mean. I mean, I obviously shouldn't speak to obviously it happens all the time, but I just mean like, oh, something hadn't broken through in a while. Like, like you're used to this thing, this like run, this cycle of waking up or
yeah,
logging
yeah.
on, and it's like, oh, where is it? Oh, this, oh, geez, how many? Like, holy shit, here we go.
This is the first
And
one that happened to an Ivy League school too, and
oh, really?
one that Trump has repeatedly targeted for being too
Sure.
woke and stuff like
Oh, and do
that.
you think that's behind part of the like these things kind of happen?
Yeah, I couldn't help but wonder that it's they still haven't caught the person. They arrested someone who it turns out they had to let them go because they didn't have anything to do with it apparently. But the person they're hunting is I have some friends. One of my best friends went to Brown, and my sister went to Brown also. So it's like it's a little close to home. It's it's something as a college teacher that I wouldn't say I think about it constantly, but it is always in the back of my mind. You know, like the possibility of this happening where one of those schools that I teach at.
Like if you're not on campus, right?
Yeah,
Like finding out that your students have been impacted or
yeah, yeah.
uh,
No,
but I will say that, and I don't mean this facetiously, but I think it was good to talk about this bit at the beginning of the podcast to put in a bit of perspective, though it's not that serious how much I hated this movie, because I have to say earlier this afternoon I was like, I don't know if I can even talk about this one.
yeah. I mean this is one that I well. Let's go into it. Let's move into that segment. It's time to talk about I Am Legend. This is actually
Yes. What was the year again? Sorry.
2007.
Yeah. So like this was, if am I wrong? This felt like a time where arguably Will Smith was kind of the only box office star, like guarantee, right?
He was definitely. This is like at the peak of his powers. Yeah,
Yeah. Where
like
it's like if you have Will Smith, you can basically shit on camera for 90 minutes and it'll have a good opening weekend,
I
basically.
mean, don't give anyone any ideas, but yes, yes. So just a little
Which is
background.
essentially what I Am Legend is, if we're being honest.
Yeah. So it's directed by Francis Lawrence, who did The Long Walk. Did you see The Long Walk, Michael? It's a recent movie.
No.
We're gonna have
No.
to cover it because it's based on a Stephen King short story or short novel.
Okay.
The movie's pretty good. It's pretty grim, but that came out earlier this year, I believe, and I enjoyed it. This one's based on a novel, also 1954 pulp novel by Richard Matheson. Originally, for some reason, I had the idea this was like an Asimov or like Ray Bradbury, but no, it's Matheson. And Matheson is well known as a pulp writer. Many of his books have been turned into movies, some of them quite famous. And he also wrote, I think, 18 episodes of The Twilight Zone, including Nightmare at 20,000 Feet with William Shatner.
Ooh,
Probably
yeah.
the most famous of all
Yeah.
famous Twilight Zone episodes.
We should do that.
Yeah, I mean, I love The Zone. I mean, I'm always down for an episode of The Zone. I even at one point wanted to write my dissertation on The Zone, and someone was like, "That's a bad idea."
Did you have to get talked out of writing
It was just going to be it was going to be a chapter, and like,
I see.
I wrote a mock prospectus, and like the professor was like, Yeah, all of this seems really good except for this Twilight Zone thing. Like, I'd rethink that. And I did, and now I have, 27 years later, I've graduated. Anyway, so there's two earlier versions of this. There's one starring Vincent Price, Last Man on Earth from 1964, which was written by Matheson himself. And then there's one starring Charlton Heston from 71 called The Omega Man. I haven't watched either of those, but I can't imagine they are worse than this.
No, I don't know how
anything. I mean,
as bad.
My friend David is working on a project that involves some of these themes, and he watched the Price version and said, it has this sort of campy charm. So I might watch that, many years from now when the taint of this horrible film has been rinsed from my mind.
Yeah, maybe episode 200 if we can.
So just like getting into the plot, it's a classic, like the cure for the disease becomes the disease, right? Someone develops a variant of the measles virus that will cure cancer. Amazing. And Alice Crippen is just before we even get into it, I hate that this movie has the trappings of world building and then really fails to follow through on that in a lot of ways, Yeah. So this Alice Crippen that we see, it's almost like the beginning of The Last of Us, where there's that like little news clip.
Yeah, it's very similar.
And she's like, no, none of the patients in the trial have gotten cancer, 5,000 people.
And it's like, how many? And it's like 10,000. And it's like, whoa, it really is cured.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unfortunately, a terrible other illness has come about as a result of mutations in this rabies virus. So we jump immediately 3 years later. The world looks like shit. New York is empty. What the fuck has happened?
Yeah, and this is basically where the movie, in my mind, got made. In the sense that, like, I feel that this movie is a movie that is built on a pitch that basically says Will Smith and empty shots of New York City.
Bingo.
And someone gave them millions of dollars. Look, can you imagine? Times Square, completely empty. It's just Will Smith. Then we go to Union Square. Guess what? Empty. Shots everywhere. There's advertisements. People are going to love it. And it's Will Smith the whole time.
And you know where he's going to live? He's going to live Washington Square. All right.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, the whole world is empty except for Will Smith. Thank God. And he has a sick ride and a dog. Hell yeah. Pimp is what I wrote on my notes. Mocking,
the dog's great. I mean, I'm never going to hate a dog actor, as you know. And
no,
I think the dog is the only reason to watch this movie.
Although, bad news on that front shortly.
We'll get to that because that part is so
we've got nature retaking the island. This is a topos I enjoy. After the departure of man, the buildings of man crumbling to ruin as animals reassert themselves. There are deer running about. He's going to shoot one because he needs to eat, but he's also just driving like a maniac through the city.
And seems to be, for reasons unexplained and unclear, like one of the great drivers in human history.
Yeah, but also
like the first scene, it's like he's driving like an F1 guy in the streets of New York with a bunch of obstacles. And he's driving. This is the first thing that really irritated me about the movie is that he's hunting deer, sure, but like he's extremely nuts in the way he's driving like into the group of deer.
Yeah,
right. Like
totally and it's like, what are deer famous for doing when you hit them with your car?
Right.
Ruining your car and killing you possibly. Like, and there are hordes of them.
I don't understand why he's taking such a huge risk.
Michael, deer hunters, they're famous for going out in the woods in their fast moving vehicles, shooting at the deer from the, deer hunters hide, right? There's like a blind you stand behind until the deer comes up and then you sneak out.
And he's trying to drive while he's got this huge gun.
And a huge dog with him who's definitely not going to scare the deer away. But as he's about to get a deer, who does he see? Oh, it's Simba, a lion that's presumably escaped from the zoo, just bursts onto the deer, kills it. Later we learn that animals can be infected by the virus. So why the lions and the deer are not infected makes no sense.
And why is the dog ever allowed out? But that's for later.
It's really like the whole thing. It's so many problems with this. So we flash back, or at least it seems like a flashback because Matt Lauer and Ann Curry are on the TV. Were we ever so young? And then it's like, no, actually, they're talking about something's up in the, and it's a TiVo'd news broadcast from before the virus outbreak.
That seemingly is designed or is used by Will Smith's character to like stay sane.
Stay in touch with reality, like pretend.
Right. Which I feel like would just imagine watching the same pre-recorded episode of Matt Lauer.
Well, I do.
If there's anything that would get me to go insane more quickly.
Well, every year when 9/11 is approaching, I spend some time to rewatch the news broadcast from September 11, 2001.
But now imagine doing that every day for 3 years while you're cutting up.
I don't have to imagine it, Michael. For my 9/11 extended endurance art piece, no, just kidding. Also, he listens to Bob Marley. Bob Marley is a huge theme in this movie, and I realized halfway through it's because of the Bob Marley Greatest Hits album, Legend.
Ew.
So it's like, I am legend. Well, he should listen to Bob Marley, Legend, right?
Yeah, and we get like the most like facile description of Bob Marley's impact at like a really critical moment.
Later, we'll get to that soon because we're not spending a lot of time on these details. Also, it's like Stir It Up, and what's the other one he listens to? Don't Worry About a Thing. Like,
yeah, it's Three Little Birds.
Yeah, it's like the fucking most level 1 Bob Marley fandom imaginable. Right. It's like not even Concrete Jungle or some of the actually good Marley. Anyway, he closes up the house at night, and then we get a flashback.
An actual flashback, yeah.
Where he's a colonel. He's like a military doctor who's a colonel. They're sealing up New York. He's getting his wife and kid out of there. And as they're driving, he's arguing. I have a wife saying, you should come with us, blah, blah, blah. A body of a zombie-ish guy crashes into their car as they're going. We then see Will Smith, who's called Neville, Dr. Neville, Colonel Neville. He's doing pull-ups, and he looks great. He's in great shape. Not sure why else we need to see that. But
well, we see it because, again, this is the pitch, right?
Yeah.
He's in New York. We get him. We get him on a workout regimen. We get him a trainer. He's going to be cut. Now we got him doing pull-ups in the afterlife, or in the post-apocalyptic world. I mean, it sells itself. Like, you can just hear the studio guy.
Yeah.
Just being like, this is going to make money no matter what we do.
No, for real. And then we go down to his lab because he's a scientist and he's working on a cure because he, for whatever reason that's not explained, is immune to the illness. Mm-hmm. He's got a whole shelf full of infected animals he's been testing. And again, like you said before, if you have all these infected animals in your house, that implies that there are like infected mice coming through. Like, why would the dog would be infected and dead? Like, this is not realistic.
That's right.
And he's been.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
You watched it. We did not watch this one together. Is it your impression that he was the only person, like, who deliberately stayed in Manhattan to research this? Or do you think there was like a team of people he was with?
I mean, we get so little background,
because I can't it seemed like it was planned in the sense that
he decides to stay. He lets his wife and daughter go.
They need him. You would think, given the scenario, right?
Yeah,
that there would be some sort of plan before they start the military quarantine to have Smith and some sort of team who can be, I guess, inoculated from this thing.
Well, they're not inoculated. I think he's just naturally immune because they don't have an inoculation for it.
He's naturally immune. He's the only person in the world.
I think by chance. Now, in the book, I think this is explained because he has a lab accident with an animal that nicks him, and that gives him the immunity. That is
okay. So,
but that's a failure. There's a total failure of world building on their part. Like, we have no idea.
Yes, but I guess this is my question. Maybe you just don't know the answer. But it's like, was the lab just him the whole time?
Well, the lab's in his house. I think we're to understand that he has built this lab into his house.
That lab? He built that lab?
And he also put all the iron doors on his windows and stuff. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Why would he already have this house that's got like all these defenses? Right? It doesn't make any sense. Also, how the fuck does he have electricity?
Yeah.
There's just
the food is good. He's still eating pretty well.
He's getting canned food. He's killing deer. Hopefully not infected deer. Anyway, he has Google Glass. He has glasses that have a little camera, and he's recording. He has hard drive space, Michael, and he's triple hard drive backupping everything he records. He's been doing 3 years of videos. That's going to take up more than 3 hard drives in 2007 data.
Yeah. Why don't you explain just quickly what his basic mission appears to be?
He's going to find a cure by using his own blood as the basis for a vaccine because he's immune, right? This makes sense, like scientifically. And so he's got but he's doing it on so many animals at once. He's got like 20 animals and he's like, subject 18, dead. Subject, wait a minute, subject 6, maybe doing okay.
And then there's the one where it's like, maybe it's working.
And then it's not. Nope. It dies the next day, of course. Also, he has an arsenal in his closet and in his pants, I wrote. Oh, God. And he lives, and this is also this perfect super lab with like armored defenses is like one of the NYU professor houses on Washington Square Park.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like it literally looks out on the arch. Like the arch is right in front of his house, that like triumphal arch they have down there. That little bit of a fake Roman, fake Napoleon, George Washington grandiosity. Although,
which comes back at the end. Right?
A friend recently asked me to take out Washington, but based on this Glenn Beck Washington AI, have you seen this yet?
Yeah, we'll have to do an episode on that for sure.
I mean, awesome. Also just Washington, like complete disaster as a general. Greatest.
Well, Washington. Are you watching the Ken Burns?
No, I don't. Come on, man.
I like it. I mean, I know we're kind of at odds about
Rise above Ken Burns, my friend.
Burns is it's like a podcast for me, especially when it's these old era ones. There's no actual video footage, like, whether you're in and out, just kind of throw it on. But I'd say he's reasonable at like, I mean, it's not overly critical, but it is funny once you because I'm not obviously that familiar with the ins and outs of the battles of this era, but like, realizing that I'm like 3 episodes deep and my only real current through line is like, once again, Washington was bested.
Washington retreats, right? Like that's all that ever
Washington
happens.
Retreats, right.
That's all that ever happens to that fraud, that slave-owning monster. Anyway, enough about that. We see him in the record store he goes to where he gets a CD every day, where he set up mannequins to act like they're other customers and friends, a real sign of sanity. He goes through apartments looking for food. He occasionally finds a can of something or other. I feel like the CGI in this looks pretty good for the era. It's one of the few compliments I'll pay it.
Agreed. I mean, it had a pretty big budget. It was $150 million.
Yep. We see the bridges are all blown. Although only the bridges to Brooklyn for some reason, not as we'll later see them leaving the island on one of the bridges to.
It's literally like
the Bronx.
We have to keep one of the bridges so that the ending can happen. It's so stupid.
I would agree. The dog eventually gets on the scent of something.
I'm sorry, but how could you keep one of the bridges?
It doesn't make sense.
I mean, the whole idea is that it's a quarantine.
It's like the Willis Avenue Bridge or something, maybe. I don't know. They just forgot about it. They're like, the Willis Avenue. Oh, right.
It's those things that just like irritating the whole time.
No, that's what I mean. Like the problem with this movie is the world building is terrible. It's a disaster.
Right, and he's incredibly boring.
There's nothing to it. So he golfs off the SR-71 Blackbird on the Intrepid, the aircraft carrier museum that's parked on the Upper West Side. The dog chases something into a darkened room, where we learn the real reason he has to lock up every night is because there's basically vampire people that live in the dark and only come out at night. Yep. In the novel, this is much more explicitly vampires. They are. They're like afraid of garlic and crosses for some reason. But in this, we don't really get that. The dog Samantha is menaced by the creatures, but Will Smith manages to. One of them jumps out of the room with him and is killed by the sunlight. The next day, he returns and captures one in this rope, mousetrap kind of thing, where the foot of it gets stuck, and then he covers it up and takes it back to the lab. He starts to do more tests. Oh, it looks like it's dying. He brings it back to life. He's pissed. He thought this serum from the one rat that kind of survived would work. It didn't. We're dealing with 1,001 days after the outbreak. The dog is immune to the airborne strain, but not the other strain for some reason. Just have it be immune.
Just to say it, so that things can happen in the movie.
Have it be immune to both strains. Like what's
it's
this?
Just so stupid. It's like this retro engineering of the world build so that just scenes can happen, so they don't have to write a story that is interesting or compelling in any way. It's like, well, we need the dog to be out and about a bit. How do we deal with that? Because he could get infected if he's attacked. Well, what if he's immune to the airborne strain? What? Okay, let's just do that. That's literally the only explanation for how you write this.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So another flashback. He's getting his wife and daughter to the helicopter evac site, which is like down under the Brooklyn Bridge. Mm-hmm. And at first the wife tests positive and she's not let through, but he's like, I'm in the military, let her through, test her again. They test her again. Oh, she's okay. Okay. These people are going to die. Like it's like really Chekhov's their instant death. Just like as soon as you see them, you're like, these characters are already dead. Yeah. They get on the helicopter and there's a newscaster. This was a funny detail. So at one point he's listening to another newscast from around the time of the outbreak. And the guy who plays the newscaster is this actor called Brad Holbrook, who's who plays the Onion News Network, like Today Now anchor on those YouTube videos. Really? Yeah, it's the same actor. And I caught this immediately. And there's a really funny thing because that character he plays is called Jim Haggerty. And on IMDb for this movie, the name of the news anchor is Jim Haggerty. And it's like, no, that's not his real name. That's his. That was just a little like.
Right. You're saying instead of just taking the credit as Brad Holbrook, it's
no, he's uncredited. It's like someone later went in and identified him as Jim Haggerty as though they think Jim Haggerty is a real person. Oh,
that's hilarious. That's great.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a great little Easter egg. There's not much to grab onto here. This is what I've
also. So we have him doing broadcasting this message, right? Where he basically says, like, I'm alive. Here's where I am.
I'm going to be at South Street Seaport every day from noon until sundown or whatever.
Yeah.
Radically
and it's like,
practical.
This is something that, like, it's like, again, that's an incredibly dangerous thing to do if your goal is to, like, come up with the cure for this, right? It seems from the way the movie is set up that he has a pretty stable situation that is only made more dangerous by his, like, need to get close from time to time, right?
Yep.
He brings his dog to those missions for reasons that are never explained. The dog doesn't seem to have any real, like, Lassie-like ability to, like, pull something out of the fire.
Yeah.
The dog seems relatively incompetent compared to most,
It's not it's not actually a trained, like, rescue dog.
It's not like a hero sidekick dog.
Yeah.
It's just a dog
that is constantly getting him in trouble and basically almost gets him killed, like, repeatedly.
Right. And I guess it's like the desperation of
he's lonely. He needs a dog.
Right.
The dog we learn is also the last thing the daughter gave him.
It's like making the message, if he's so committed to finding this cure that he decided to do this and he's sticking it out, like we said, there is a bridge. He could leave the city the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, they're boats. There's many ways to get out.
Yes. If he wants to do this, I would say that attracting random strangers with intentions you do not know, who you've never met, in a post-apocalyptic world,
well, I mean, we've seen
a really stupid idea.
We've seen The Walking Dead. We've seen The Last of Us. Like, this is the exact thing you don't do.
That's right.
Right? Like,
you don't make yourself known, especially when you're trying to do this under the idea, like in the service of saving the entire species.
That's a really good point, because the two goals he set for himself are completely at odds.
That's right. I just love to hang out. But also, I am the only hope for the entire species.
So he's driving through the city, and he sees someone out there. Oh, no, it's not a person. It's one of the mannequins. He gets trapped in one of his own traps, and it's, like, weighted by a car. So he gets his leg in it, and then a counterweight goes off, and he's pulled up. And is, like, for me, when I saw this, I was just like, oh, so his leg is, like, horribly broken. right? Like it was pulled by the weight of a car, Michael. And if it's not totally broken, it would just be like pulled off, right? Like,
well, except you did see him do the pull-ups earlier, right? You saw
that. He is asleep. The dog is barking there, but it's not the dog's bark that wakes him back up. No, it's his watch alarm.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has a knife. He cuts himself down, and he falls in such a way. First of all, he's like 6 feet off the ground. He just falls on his head. Yeah. Strong risk of death from that. But also, the knife just jams into his thigh as he falls. Like, really, well done. You know, maybe toss the knife away as you're falling, right? Just to avoid that. Mm-hmm. But no. And then it's almost, so he's kind of dragging himself. And at first I was like, oh, is he dragging himself just because of the knife? Or is his leg actually, like, broken? Like, what's going on here? Oh, a guy with vampire dogs, right? This point, you know, at this point in the notes I wrote, finding this movie really, really, really tough to finish.
Well, now we get the dog.
The dog gets into a fight with one of the vampire dogs. And as we know, it's only immune to the airborne strain. It gets the virus. He takes it home. He kills the vampire dogs. He gets away. The dog is turning into a vampire, so he strangles it. And now he's pissed.
It's just, again, I've been wanting to talk about this, but it's like, again, we talk about these goals, right? So he's very lonely, and the dog is the only thing that he can interact with.
Yep.
Right.
So why take the risk of having it with him on all these?
Why does the dog ever go outside into these situations? Ever one time?
Doesn't make sense.
You have a really big house. It's not one of these classic, the classic New York situations of like, got a big dog, got myself a 1-bedroom.
No, he has a massive house. There's 3 floors. Great spot.
One assumes a little bit of a backyard situation. Like there are ways to have this dog.
But even though, Michael, if this virus is in mammals, like, there are rats and mice everywhere that have it. Sure, sure. I mean, the dog's going to get a mouse with it and get
the dog should be in quarantine at the house
forever,
so that he can be the best friend for as long as possible.
That's right.
And then we, like, again, it's like we have no emotional stakes. It's impossible to care about this character in the way that it's delivered. And the only purpose of the dog dying is to make something sad
to make us feel something. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So he's into suicidal rage. He gets in his SUV and decides to go try and kill as many of the vampires as he can. Mm-hmm. And he crashes them. There's like a whole horde of them on his truck. It's a complete nightmare. And at the last second, is just as it seems like they're about to eat him, a bright light shines on the vampires and they all scatter and they can't handle it. We have a final flashback to the helicopter leaving where we see that it's about the daughter and the wife are like waving goodbye, and another helicopter, just as they blow the bridges, another helicopter gets disoriented and just careens straight for the wife. Instant death. It was
stunning. I mean, I was shocked to see that happen.
I had no idea. In my notes, I definitely didn't write, please let them crash this time. He wakes up and someone is watching Shrek. Shrek is on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of Shrek in this. I was like, what's with all the Shrek cross promotion? I've never watched Shrek and never will, so this is probably as much of Shrek as I'll...
Shrek's pretty good.
I don't know about that, Michael.
It's fun.
That's what George Washington told me. He said, the one thing our nation will have is Shrek. So there's a kid called Ethan and a woman called Anna who's Latina. She's not his mother, we learn a little bit. They're just 2 immune people who are on a rescue vessel together. And they heard Will Smith's. They're the only survivors. Everyone else got the virus or got killed by the vampires. The Dark Seekers, as they call them, because you can't just call them vampires. Will Smith is freaked out by this. She says, "Look, we're going to the survivors' colony in Bethel, Vermont," which is very specific. Probably the director is like from Bethel, Vermont, or something. He freaks out. And it's really hard to believe that Will Smith could ever get like outrageously angry about something trivial.
But this is another moment. That's so stupid because it's like he's put the message out.
It's finally been answered after 3 years.
It's finally been answered, and then he's like, "There's no way there's something other than you two." It just makes no sense. Like the woman's basically like, there is this place. She can't prove it. She hasn't been there.
But she's heard about it somehow.
She's heard about it. And more importantly, even though the more important thing is actually hearing about it, the more important, quote unquote, thing for the movie is that she believes it. Yeah. Right. So she's just like, I know it's true. He starts like really yelling for no reason at this person who's maybe given him the best news he's received in the last 3 years.
Yeah, you worry that he's going to slap
just to
her.
make it so there can be an ending. Like I said, this is the common theme throughout this movie.
Yep.
Just so that the movie can continue in movie form. This is my least favorite type of movie.
Oh, yeah.
They just decide that he's going to get really mad and not believe it, so that when it comes time to end the movie, which thankfully we are getting to soon,
very soon,
you're not going to believe it. He just might have a change of heart.
Yep. So they he recites Shrek and befriends them by showing that he loves Shrek, and they're like, oh, no one who likes Shrek could be evil. They're the only two immune survivors from their quarantine group. They go to the Met. They go to the Temple of Dendur. For some reason, there are tons of fish swimming in the temple. Again, they'd be dead. Like, who was feeding them? Is Will Smith feeding them every? Never mind. Will Smith shows Anna the sleeping vampire he has trapped in his basement for testing. And she says, I've never seen one so still. They're always biting. And I thought, wow, Shakespeare, your time in the sun is over, my friend. You've invested yet again. And then he says, God didn't do this, Anna. We did. He goes on a kind of new atheist screed.
Yeah.
Talks about his dead daughter who was named Marley after Bob Marley. Anna's never heard of Bob Marley, but she has heard of Damian Marley.
Yes.
Like
extremely bizarre.
Has anyone who has ever lived heard of Damian Marley that has not heard of his father, Bob Marley?
It is. I think it is fair to say that it is impossible for that to happen.
And she's from Brazil, where Bob Marley is immensely popular.
Yeah. Who's that? Bob Marley?
And this is 2007. This is like not even 30 years after his passing.
Do you know Damian?
Oh,
I never heard of this Bob.
Damian Marley. Oh, he's my favorite. I love him. Wait, his father also did music? Weird. Anyway.
And then we get
he says the speech where Bob Marley was he was a virologist against racism who believed that, by bringing people together through love and joy of his song, he could inoculate our spirits against hatred. And And then
what happens too?
They shot him down, but 2 days later, he was about to appear at a big peace protest. And even though he got shot 2 days before, he showed up and he said, I'm not going to be, I forget what the exact line is, but it's this big, he's Bob Marley legend, It's really, I don't know.
Yeah, it was at that point where I was verbally begging for the movie to be over.
I was just like, please, God, make it stop. They're gonna leave the next day. He tries to explain her through statistics why there are no people alive. It doesn't make sense. Doesn't matter. It's night. Ethan gets put to bed in his daughter's room. Then, of course, an army of Darkseekers turns up.
Sure. Why not?
And they attack the house. Now, there are two endings of the movie. Oh, again, he gets batted all over. And I was just like, he'd be dead. Like, his neck would have broken.
He gets thrown through a wall.
I mean, it's like...
And he just rolls down the stairs.
He's Wolverine or something, right? Like, he just doesn't... We already knew this from the leg trap incident, but come on. Like, eventually they take refuge from this army of vampires in the lab. Now... Where
they are like, wait, this one might actually be working.
And the cure is...
Maybe we've actually found the cure. What timing?
The cure has worked. So in the theatrical cut, he forces them into a hiding place, gives them the cure that he's extracted from the healing vampire, and he commits fatal self-harm, as the YouTubers like to say, by trapping the vampires and blowing them up. And then the movie ends with Anna and Ethan escaping to Bethel, Vermont, where they turn over
save humanity,
where they turn over the cure.
But again, this is to be clear
There's
for anybody who
no
hasn't
reason
watched
for him to commit suicide.
it doesn't appear in this ending that there is any true imperative for him to do this, in that he gives them directions out of the house to get away from the army of dark seekers.
Though it's the night, so they're probably more all over the place, presumably.
He says you got to stay till dawn.
Oh, right.
But the thing that does it is that gets rid of them is he throws a grenade. But there appears to be a pretty simple path, right, to him just going down the chute with them.
Throwing the grenade and then going down after them.
Instead, he just charges at them in some
holds the grenade as sort of suicidal.
It's time to be a martyr, I suppose.
Well, it's time to become legend, right?
That's right.
I cured it. Now I can just blow myself up with these.
And it's just for a guy who seems to have thought of everything at this critical moment,
He's going to stir it up. He's going to stir it up, Michael.
But the ridiculousness of this ending is sort of laid bare by, why don't you explain the other?
All right, so then there's an alternative ending, which is the one I initially watched. And they're not clear about this
weird.
Like, so in this ending, he realizes the cure is working, but he also realizes, the reason they're here, the head evil vampire does a little butterfly like drawing. He realizes the dark seekers are sentient, that they have relationships, that they have love, and that they've come not to kill him, but to get their friend back. And they hate him because he's killed hundreds of other vampires trying to. Right. So he sets the girl free and takes the cure away and brings her back to life. She wakes up and she is like head nuzzling and they're hissing at it, but they restrain themselves and they let him live. And then the last scene we see is him and Anna and Ethan driving away. $150 million budget and $585 million box office.
Like, this is to me like really the crystallized, like the absolute explanation of the point I've been making through this whole thing.
That it's just,
which is that like these people were just on such a heater, right? Like Will Smith was just doing anything would work at this point, right? And they like the movie is proof that they know they didn't in this moment have to do anything.
Yep.
They just had to release a movie where he would walk around an empty Washington Square and they would make $435 million of profit.
Unbelievable. Well, I mean, some of that marketing budget's not included in that 150.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I mean, someone made out
anything that does better, anything
money.
That makes more than 50%. Yeah. I mean, they made a lot of money. They made a lot of money.
They spent a lot.
They made 150. Right? They made at least $150 million on this.
I mean, the power of this too is like the script, the movie is so clearly terrible.
Oh my god!
And yet it's still
and like the world building
through the money people, and they're like, we can give this 150.
Like Michael,
that's how much money this is.
Why is there no electricity? Like why isn't like why is there there's electricity? Could we just have a moment to explain that?
No, I think it's better that
does he have solar panels and a like there's nothing,
right? Like you can see like maybe the writing team involved is so jaded and they're making so much money that it's kind of a joke in-house, or there was like a funny back and forth where some writer was like, why do you guys want us to cut the explanation of the electricity? And the studio's like, no one gives a fuck why or why not. They just want to see Will Smith do pull-ups and rabid deer running around Manhattan.
And as they're driving away in the alternate ending, we see the lion and his wife and their cubs again. I'm just like, it's a little Simba and Nala are back. Yeah.
They're back.
So this was brutal, man. I hated this.
This one felt like work,
This is the worst. This is the worst one we've done since War of the Worlds, maybe. I don't know. I'd be hard pressed to pick a least favorite.
I mean, I think now that you bring that up, War of the Worlds was really bad.
Oh yeah, and it's similar, like aliens in New York.
Speaking of that, we do have, now that we're wrapping up here, the big news for listeners is that the next episode is our 100th.
100 episode spectacular is coming up. And
we will be doing sort of fun, loose kind of rankings of some of the various things we've talked about. One of them is going to be the top 5 worst movies, and let me tell you, this one is in with a real shout. But we're going to also be doing some hypotheticals that we know our listeners have loved engaging with over the years here, and maybe some predictions for the apocalypse, some political predictions, a sort of smorgasbord to celebrate what has been a wonderful 99 episodes, hopefully 100.
Yeah. Barring our
so that's next week.
Barring our immediate deaths.
Yes, well, we don't need to talk about that.
No, we don't.
If it does happen, it happens, and at least just make sure you're kind to me on Truth Social, Stu.
So, 100th episode spectacular next time. In the meantime, if you like the show, you can follow us.
Bonanza.
A bonanza.
Yeah, let's go with 100th episode Bonanza Spectacular. How about that?
Okay, I like it. 100th episode Bonanza Spectacular. Writes itself. And in the meantime, if you like the show, you can follow us on the podcatcher of your choice. If you really like the show, leave us a rating and or review on that podcatcher. In the meantime, you can also follow us on Instagram at The End of the World WMS, where we like to post reels of highlights from the show each week. And yeah, I can't wait for this spectacular. I may go through and grab a few clips from some early episodes too, just to show how far we've come.
Bonanza Spectacular.
For the Bonanza Spectacular, all bets are off. But until then,
usually we do this and most weeks we will just have teases throughout the week of what's to come. So I'm sure you'll get some.
Until those teases appear. This has been The End of the World with Michael and Stu.
I am Michael.
And I'm Stu, and we'll talk to you real soon.